Ever get completely derailed by like an unexpected rain shower? Picnic's ruined, gotta run for cover, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Now imagine that, but you're responsible for a massive construction project.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, a sudden downpour. That's not just an inconvenience, that's like costly delays, blown schedules, even safety hazards. And that's what we're diving into today, how one company, Wallbridge, is using some seriously next level weather tech from a company called Tomorrow.io to basically outsmart the weather on their construction sites.
Wow.
Yeah, and we'll get into how this isn't just about dodging raindrops. It could actually change a bunch of industries, making them like weatherproof as much as possible, at least.
Ah.
So our main source today is a case study from Tomorrow.io themselves. So, a little salesy. We get it.
Yeah.
But hey, that gives us their perspective, right? And of course, we'll be keeping an eye out for any, embellishments.
Of course, yeah.
So to kick things off, what exactly is Tomorrow.io? It's got to be more than just your typical weather app, right?
Oh, absolutely. We're not talking about a simple chance of showers here.
Right. This is like predicting if a specific work zone is about to get flooded.
You've got it. Tomorrow.io is playing a different game altogether. Imagine a platform utilizing AI, a whole network of weather satellites, and some pretty mind-blowing forecasting models.
Yeah.
And it's not limited to construction either. They work with giants like, well, JetBlue, for instance, even the U.S. Air Force.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're not talking about some small-time operation.
Okay, now that's impressive. The case study really focuses on Wallbridge, using Tomorrow.io for this huge Ford project, Blue Oval City. This isn't just building a new car wash. This is massive. What kind of impact can this tech have on something that big?
Just think about the logistics involved.
Yeah.
Coordinating construction across a site of that scale, you got a million moving parts, tight deadlines, and a ton of money on the line. Every little delay can snowball into a huge problem. What Tomorrow.io brings is the ability to get ahead of those disruptions with these like hyperlocal forecasts. So we're talking about predictions for specific zones within the site.
Ah, I see. So it's not just rain's coming. It's this specific area will get hit this hard at this time. That's got to be so valuable, knowing that level of detail. And speaking of value, there's a quote here from Wallbridge's senior VP, Eric Twigg, and he says, Tomorrow.io allows Wallbridge job sites to, and I quote, mitigate and minimize weather impact, which helps us maintain our cost and schedule.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Right. It's one thing to have fancy tech, but to actually see it, save money, prevent those headaches, and keep things on track, that's huge.
Absolutely. And what makes it even more interesting is how this very granular data translates to real-world decisions. The case study mentions a Wallbridge engineer, Jamie and Sonia, who's working on Blue Oval City, and they were expecting, get this, 5 inches of rain
5 inches.
in one weekend. And Tomorrow.io not only predicted the downpour itself, but they pinpointed exactly which areas of the site would get hit hardest and when.
Yep.
So they could warn the teams, adjust the schedule, even protect certain buildings from potential water damage. That kind of foresight on a project this big, that's game-changing.
That's amazing, knowing not just if it'll rain, but where and when, so they can actually work around it instead of just grinding to a halt. But with predictions that powerful, is there a risk of relying on them too much, becoming too dependent?
It's a valid concern. At the end of the day, technology should empower us, not replace our own judgment. While Tomorrow.io gives incredible predictive power, it's all about finding that balance.
So using this tech to make smarter decisions, not just blindly following whatever it says. Now, besides dodging a potential 5-inch rain delay disaster, what other benefits does Tomorrow.io bring to a company like Wallbridge? I mean, there's got to be more to it than just staying on schedule, right? It does feel like we keep coming back to that bottom line, but beyond just, keeping things on schedule, are there actual cost savings that Wallbridge gets from using this tech? Because those delays, I'm sure they don't come cheap.
You're hitting the nail on the head. We're talking about serious money here. I mean, think about it. A project the size of Blue Oval City, each day of delay could easily translate to millions of dollars down the drain.
Wow.
Yeah, so when Tomorrow.io comes in and helps minimize those delays, those cost savings, they become pretty substantial.
That's wild when you think about it, like predicting the weather as a cost-saving measure, but it totally makes sense.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, one thing that caught my eye in the case study was how Tomorrow.io actually tailors its approach for each of Wallbridge's projects. So it's not just like a one-size-fits-all kind of deal.
Yeah.
What does that look like in practice?
That's actually a really important point, and it really highlights who Tomorrow.io is targeting. They're not going after, like, the average person checking the weather for their weekend plans. This is about working with organizations that have incredibly complex needs, operating at a scale where this level of weather intelligence is absolutely essential.
So what are we talking, like custom weather alerts for every single worker on a job site?
Think bigger. Imagine customizing the whole system itself. For example, they might integrate directly with a project's existing software, you know, or fine-tune those alert thresholds based on specific risks they're watching out for. They might even deploy their own weather stations on site, get even more granular with that data. It's
Right.
all about creating a solution that's tailor-made for each project, because every project has different challenges.
Makes sense. You wouldn't approach weather the same way building a skyscraper in Dubai versus, I don't know, a bridge in the Amazon rainforest.
Exactly. You got it.
Mm.
Constructing a skyscraper, high wind alerts, those are going to be priority number one.
Yeah.
Road construction crew, flash floods, that's what they're worried about.
Right.
That level of personalization, that's what makes this technology so interesting. It's not just, is it going to rain anymore? It's, how will this specific weather event impact your operations, and what can you do about it?
This is blowing my mind, honestly. So we've gone from like dodging picnic ruining showers to potentially dodging multi-million-dollar construction delays, all thanks to basically fancy weather forecasting. But if construction's getting this high tech about predicting the weather, I gotta ask, what's next? Where else could this go? It really feels like we're on the edge of something big here. If we can give construction crews this kind of weather intelligence, what's next? Where else could this tech go?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? What gets me excited is how this could revolutionize industries we haven't even thought of yet. Beyond construction, think about it. Farming, transportation, even just our everyday lives, all becoming weatherproof.
Okay, now you're getting me thinking. Like my fridge automatically ordering extra popsicles because my smart thermostat told it a heat wave's coming.
Exactly. Or your car rerouting you to avoid a sudden downpour. Cities prepping for extreme temperatures in specific neighborhoods before they even hit. Once you start down this road, the possibilities are kind of endless.
That's incredible, but, and maybe I'm too much of a what if person, but this much reliance on prediction has to come with its own set of challenges, right? It can't all be smooth sailing.
Oh, definitely. There are absolutely big questions that need answers as this technology keeps evolving.
Like for starters, who gets access to all this hyperlocal data? Could it be misused? And how do we make sure this kind of advanced weather intelligence is used to benefit everyone, not just those who can afford it?
Those are all critical considerations, no doubt. As we rely more and more on data, especially when it comes to something as vital as the weather, those ethical questions become paramount. Access, privacy, equity.
Hmm.
We have to be having these conversations now to make sure this technology is used responsibly for everyone's benefit.
Wow. So it's like we're entering a new era of understanding and adapting to the weather, but like any big leap forward, there are going to be some growing pains along the way. Well, if this deep dive into weatherproofing construction has taught us anything, it's that the future is full of surprises. But with innovation and some critical thinking about the implications, we can navigate those surprises and hopefully build a better tomorrow.
I like that. Build a better tomorrow.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious.